Good morning, and welcome to the 2013 Oregon Business Summit. As you may have surmised, I am not the governor of Oregon, nor am I the senior senator from the great state of Oregon. I am not even the chairman of Schnitzer Steel. I am, however, the artistic director of the city's largest theater company, and I have no idea what I'm doing here. About 6 months ago, Duncan Wise sat down with me at lunch and he said, "Chris, I have an idea. I would love to see if you wouldn't work with us on making the summit more interesting." And I thought about it for a second. I said, "Duncan, it's a business summit." I mean, there are limits to one's imagination. But he was not to be dissuaded, and so I found myself actually rolling the question around in my head. If I had to figure out how to roll this day out, how to kind of raise the primary questions to the surface, how in the world would I begin? And I found myself stumped. But I knew that somehow there would be music involved. I mean, you think, maybe the day starts with looking back at the triumphs of the last year. I mean, some really big progress in the state. Maybe the first chapter is something like Purrs, the musical.
The war over Purrs was a-blazing, a fight for the life of the state. The conflict was hot and amazing, and no one was looking too great. With barricades rising, all sides are reprising too much and too little, too late. The people were starting to panic. Fear growled like a dog at the gate. Cape Sauber was the Titanic, with icebergs converging like fate. Then in special sessions, each side's made concessions and found some relief from debate.
But I'm thinking to myself, like, where do you put the dance number in that thing? It's like really, really hard to imagine on stage. So I'm thinking, okay, well, let's look at the second priority that we looked at last year. We really made some progress in investing more wisely and more deeply in education, right? So maybe that's a little easier to sing about.
Give me back my science class. Give me back my dream of music. Give me back the soccer grass that used to be mowed every week. Give me back some English lit. Give me back my intramurals. Maybe a dry place to sit under a roof, not a leak.
I don't know. I'm having trouble figuring out how to stage that one as well. So I found myself thinking, okay, we'll look at the third priority. Building the bridge across the Columbia. That's got that's got everything you need for a good drama, right? You got warring parties, you got architecture, you've got people who want different things, you got a big pot of money. I mean, surely we can figure out how to stage that one, right?
Over Columbia, it reaches to the sky. Over Columbia, so many stories high. Over Columbia, the public gladly streams. Over Columbia, a multi-transit dream. Everybody, over Columbia.
Hey, Meredith.
It reaches.
Meredith.
Yes, what?
The bridge is not happening.
Wait, but I thought the legislature passed.
Yeah, Oregon passed it.
Just Oregon?
Yeah, in Washington, they kind of hosed it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's cold.
Yeah, it was cold. But, who knows? Maybe there's a future bridge awaiting us. But today, what I know is that we're all here to figure out what's next.
If you've left your breakfast huddle with your mind still in a muddle and your regional division feeling low, if priorities are spastic and your gold char's gone elastic and there's really just one thing you need to know, what's next? When we look into the future and we wonder what's in store, will this red ink get the suture? Will we all be drowned in the gore? If they can't tax it, then they'll axe it. What's next? Every banker and financer always wants to know the answer on just how to make the gamble low or high. We're made tense by high financing, so the subjects need more mancing if investors feel that hope's in short supply. What's next? Will the taxes raise or lower? Will the margins rise or fall? Is it scissors or a mower gives the haircut after all? Oh, the lopping and the chopping. What's next? Let's assemble and let's gather with a minimum of blather to discuss just what the future might contain. Seeking answers to divisions, roadblocks, vetoes, indecisions, and a better way to make progress remain. What's next? In conclusion, there's one question firmly uppermost in mind. If you ponder each suggestion, it may well be that you'll find you're multitasking when you're asking, what's next? What's next? What's next? What's next?
I got you right. That was Meredith K. Clark, and our songwriting team is Rick Lewis and Sam Gregory, and they're on hand today. They're going to be composing 2 other songs in real time based on what they hear in the room today. So watch what you say and stay tuned. Anybody here for the Business Summit December 2008? It's kind of depressing, right? What I think is most exciting about today is it's not depressing. There is enormous promise around the state, and I think the stories that we get to share and experience today are really about building on strength and building on successes that we've seen. The Oregon Business Plan has 3 goals, right? Create jobs, raise incomes, reduce poverty. And we're gathered here today to figure out how to do that together. And we're going to get an update on how we're doing against our goals. We're going to hear from some really fascinating leaders from traded sector companies who are looking out on the horizon and imagining what's next for their own business, for their own industry. We're also going to get to hear from elected leaders about how we did in the 2013 year and where we go from here. And then finally, each of you are going to get to participate in a breakout session, get your hands dirty, and really help us figure out what the priorities should look like. But first, I would like to introduce the chairman of the Oregon Business Plan, John Carter, who is in fact the chairman of Schnitzer Steel, and he's going to be interviewing our U.S. Senators Ron Wyden and Jeff Merkley. Please join me in welcoming them.